Hi, I'm Derek
And I'm Valerie
from Coffee Roasters, and we are talking today about different home brewing techniques. So we've covered some more traditional things like French press and Chemex and pour over, but this is quite a different contraption you've got going over here. Tell us what you're up to there, Valerie.
So this is called a Moka pot, and it's basically comprised of 3 different compartments or chambers. You have the bottom that carries your water, and then you've got this middle, almost like a portafilter type thing, and then you've got another screen with a gasket
rubber, yeah,
on the bottom, and then on the top you have almost like this funnel tube thing that basically pours out your prepared brewed coffee.
Sort of like a mini percolator, huh?
Yeah. This is really popular in Italy, I guess. It's what every Italian has in their home for their brewing setup.
Also known as a poor man's espresso machine, or women's, as the case may be.
And then I've also got about 25 grams of coffee pre-ground finely, so almost like table salt.
So this is a great way to be able to have access to espresso. You'll notice we also have some milk here as well. What did you spend on that Moka pot?
This one was about $20 online.
So not so bad.
And this is a 5.5 cup one. There's different sizes, so you can get, I think the smallest one is a 2 cup or 3 cup, and then it goes up to, I believe, 10 for the newer models.
And that's in the coffee lingo of a cup is roughly 5 ounces or so?
Yeah, so these are more concentrated than drip coffee and a little bit more diluted than an espresso shot. So it meets it somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So,
cool. So what do we do first here to make a great Moka pot?
I have some preheated water that I'm going to put into the bottom chamber, and I'm going to fill it just below this pressure spout.
And I should also qualify that it's also possible to make extremely bad coffee with the Moka pot as well, right? It's only recently that the Moka pot has come back into vogue with the specialty coffee world.
Yes.
So you're going to pour out just a little bit to get it below that pressure relief valve?
Yep. And then I'm going to take my portafilter-like object, and I'm going to put the ground coffee in. So I've made this nice and flat, but I didn't tamp or put pressure on it at all. I just flattened it so it's nice and even.
And that's what, roughly 24, 25 grams of coffee that's ended up in there?
Yep. You just want to fill it to the top and get it nice and even. So I'm going to take the bottom chamber,
which is already hot with hot water.
and I'm going to put it over a very low heat on the stove.
So this is one key difference from the classic preparation that leads to often not very good coffee, is that you're putting preheated water in. So the coffee grounds are spending less time, getting heated up and potentially boiled or overdone. Very carefully screwing the top on. And as you tighten down that top, you're getting the seal because of that rubber gasket, right? So it's actually then creating the ability for the grounds to go under pressure, just like espresso.
It's keeping that pressure in. So I'm going to leave this open so that I have a rough estimate on when it's going to start brewing. And I'm going to start heating up some milk.
So the real finesse here, Valerie, is that you're trying to get the water hot enough so that it percolates and brews, but not so hot that it really kind of rushes through and kind of boils the coffee off, right?
Right. Don't want to cook the coffee. So when it's getting ready to come up through the valve, it's going to make almost a bubbling sound, and then you'll see the coffee slowly rise out and just kind of seep down on the sides of this wall.
Okay.
You'll see the steam start to come up a little bit quicker.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So we got a little gurgling. Looks like we got our first little bit of coffee coming up and over. Nice steady stream, not too aggressive, not too soft. We're using our hand-wired espresso blend for this guy. It's about 60% of Brazil component, a little bit of Sumatra for spice, and a little bit of the natural process Ethiopia that's actually the core full stack that gives a little fruit to it as well. But Brazil makes a great base for espresso. It's a little bit lower elevation, a little bit lower, therefore lower acid bean. So it lends itself well to a pressurized extraction where it's easy to get too much acid in your espresso shots if you go with a higher acid bean. So the Oatly is heated up. We're kind of doing a double hack here. We're hacking the Moka pot to make a high quality espresso drink. And we're hacking the French press to froth some milk here, huh?
Yep. I'll expand it by about 50%.
So this is definitely a technique that's better done in it's almost like a plexiglass or polycarbonate kind of, it's not glass, right, that you're using right now?
Right.
This is where the French press could be dangerous if you're trying to do that in glass, but definitely stainless steel or composite material is going to blend itself well.
This is getting lighter in color, so I'm going to turn off the heat, close the lid, and remove it.
I already see a nice little foamy head on there.
So I'll pour into these mugs.
Nice dark color, wow. Much darker than the Chemex or French press that you were pouring earlier.
Yeah. There's a good amount in each one, more than an espresso shot.
But also not quite as extracted as espresso, right? There's no crema on top.
Right.
So caffeine-wise, you think going to be comparable to an espresso shot?
From what I've learned, it's actually a little bit more than an espresso shot.
Okay. All right, so we've got a $20 Moka pot. We've got a maybe $15 French press. And then we are using one of our frothing pitchers just to help with the delivery of the milk and get a little technique on there. But you've actually been able to froth that milk enough to get a little latte art going. That is super impressive. Without the $20,000 espresso machine.
Yeah.
Couple of hearts made with love.
2 cappuccinos at home.
Beautiful.